What's going on, guys? FantasyGuruElite.com, MadLab76 on Twitter. I wanted to jump on in here and I wanted to give you my official prediction for Maymac. If you haven't seen my first video, I suggest you go over there and watch that. It kind of details where my head's at, why I'm picking what I'm picking, and it gives you a really in-depth look on more of the Mayweather side, just for the mere fact that we really don't know much about McGregor. I want to also let you guys know that everything I'm saying about this fight on Twitter, and I know it seems like I'm very Mayweather biased, and I'm really not. I want you guys to understand that Mayweather's a guy who I really don't like. If you go back on Google and you look at my past articles from 2002 and 2003 when I was writing for like East Coast Boxing and stuff like that, I always tried to find avenues for this guy to lose. Like I really did. I tried to find every angle for this guy to lose, and you know, obviously by doing that, I was proven wrong many a times. I spent a lot of money watching pay-per-view events with him. You know, every time a punch hit his shoulder, hey, he hit him, he rocked him. This is it. The guy proved me wrong over and over again. So with that said, I'm done being wrong, you know, about it, and I'm done being wrong about him. Do I like his style of fighting? No. Would I rather see the Arturo Gatti style? Absolutely. But that's not the way he fights, because he doesn't have to fight that way. He doesn't have to fight, you know, in a phone booth and get into a slugfest with somebody. Let me put my seatbelt on, guys. Excuse me. He doesn't have to get into that phone booth fight, you know, with somebody to win. He's got the intelligence, he's got the speed, he's got the ring IQ to stay away and take the minimum amount of punishment and win. So if he was the type of fighter that did that, who fought that way, very defensively, and just tried to do enough to win, and he lost a few fights, and I'd say, you know, things got to change here. Like he's not doing what he needs to. He's doing what he needs to do defensively, but offensively, the output's not there. He's got to change something. The thing I also want you guys to understand is that the media that is selling this to you guys, as far as like both sides are kind of very biased towards their guys. Boxing kind of has a reason to be biased towards their guy just for the mere fact that it's boxing. And for any MMA analyst out there that's saying that, so what, he doesn't box, he doesn't need to box, he just has to fight within the boxing rules, that's ludicrous and that's a foolish statement, because the plain and simple, if you're in a boxing ring and you're wearing boxing gloves and you're fighting under boxing rules, you're boxing. So that's a ludicrous statement right there. But as far as the media is concerned, you know, what they're trying to sell you guys, you know, I don't agree with the guys like Max Kellerman and stuff like that when he's saying he's not going to hit him once and, you know, this and that, but I mean, it's a fight with head and body. He's going to get hit. How clean he's going to get hit, I don't know, but he's going to get hit. But it just seems like the MMA guys are trying to feed you false hope. And it's my job to come out here and not per se call them out right now, but to kind of just let you guys know that that's exactly what this is. They got to sell this fight. They have to stand by their guy, and they got to feed you all these situations, angles, peel back all these layers to kind of prove to you guys what kind of shot he has, and this is how he can win, and this is what he's going to do to win. But the fact of the matter is how can you break down a fighter when you have nothing to break down? You have nothing to break down. You have no boxing film to break down. You got a 30-second sparring video that you could basically, that was taped together, that you could break down, whether you want to call that a knockdown, if you want to call it a slip, if you want to go to a little push, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing to break down. So by these, you know, people creating these, you know, 20-hour videos and creating, you know, these whole series and calling Floyd a fraud, and he's going to get knocked down the second round, and he's going to do this, and he's going to create a disturbance here. It's kind of foolish for saying that, for the mere fact that we all can sit down and draw up a blueprint on what we think can work against Floyd Mayweather, or against any fighter. That's the easy part about it. The hard part about it is, can you put it into motion? And how do you know that he can put it into motion? You know, I can say, listen, you know, you want to, you know, jump off a bridge? I think the best way to jump off the bridge is this way. That doesn't mean you're going to survive. You know, so by these guys breaking down like what he needs to do and what he has to do, it's completely foolish, because you're doing it blindly and you're actually being a sellout. You're sticking too much to a bias. You're trying to absorb your viewers. You're trying to sell them on false hope, and I'm not willing to do that. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you the cold hard reality about it. And the cold hard reality about it is, in 387 rounds, Floyd Mayweather Jr. has only been to his knee one time, and it wasn't by a punch. It was because he broke his hand and he went down. Another reality of it is everybody's getting very excited about these 8-ounce gloves. Well, mind you, he's fought 90% of his fights in his career, 95% of his fights in his career with 8-ounce gloves. He's only fought about 4 fights with 10-ounce gloves. So they're selling you on that, which is ludicrous because the majority of his fights are in 8-ounce gloves. They're talking about him being out late and being up late and being at his club. His entire career, his sleeping pattern is 5 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. That's what time he goes to sleep. That's normal for him. If you ever watch his fights back in the day when he fought, when they did all these shows with him, training before a fight with De La Hoya and stuff like that, he would do road runs at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just his sleeping pattern. It has nothing to do with him partying, drinking, being out all night, not taking it seriously. This is what he does. But the MMA media are selling it to the general fan that way because it looks that way to you. Because maybe you don't know much about Mayweather. Maybe you don't know what he's about. What time he trains. He trains late at night every night his entire career. That's just who he is. So that's another fact, and another thing, the best way I could break this down for you is this way. You have a guy who has been boxing since he's been single digits in age. He remembers every single combination his father has taught him. He is so aware in the ring to the point where he's sitting in the corner in between rounds. He's looking to see if you're breathing heavy. He answers questions. He's done it before to media members in the audience that were talking college football, and he heard them when he was fighting, and he answered their question. It wasn't even directed towards him. So this guy is so aware in the ring. And if you look at his overall body of work, that what he has done and the people he has faced, there's not one person that has come close except for one man, and that one man was Castillo, and I truly believe Castillo won that fight, and I think he got robbed. But as far outside of that, he's just made work of everybody. If you look at the rounds, you look at what he's done, and what he does that's so genius is that he calculates your code. A lot of people don't understand what I mean by that, but if you look at MMA, you have 3 to 5 rounds. You have a 3-round fight, which is a normal fight, a 5-round, which is obviously a championship fight. You really don't have time for a feel-out round. You know what I mean? You do in a 5-round fight. Sometimes you'll see him feel, but you got to kind of get to it. You got to, hopscotch and get to it. In boxing, you have 12 rounds, so it's almost not mandatory. Hagler Hearns obviously didn't do it, but you have to have that feel-out round. You got to find a kind of feel what's going on. What is he giving me? What is he giving me, and what am I allowed to take? You got to kind of calculate his code. So that first and second round is kind of a throwaway round to me. You know what I mean? So if there's a round to be won in that fight, it's going for McGregor. It's going to only be the first round. That's it. Because Mayweather's going to sit back on his heels. He's going to try to, see what is he giving me here? Because he's going to have to do that. There's no raw footage of him at all, of McGregor at all doing anything. There's no raw footage of him hitting a speed bag. There's no raw footage of him hitting a double-ended bag. There's no raw footage of him sparring. There is absolutely no footage on him to watch. So how these media guys and these analysts, the MMA analysts, have all these 9 hours of 10 hours of audio and video of what he's going to do and the disruptions, it's completely ludicrous to me. But what he's going to do is he's just going to calculate his code, and he's going to download that blueprint, and by the second and third round, you're going to see Conor go back to his corner and realize that his own boxing is sloppy. And what I mean by that is he's going to realize that he's in the ring with a guy that is so crisp and so sharp and that cuts corners so well and creates these traps and baits him into certain things, and he's beating him to the punch and he's hitting him from angles that he doesn't even see. And when you guys say he does not have power, that Mayweather doesn't have power, what you got to understand is the punches that hurt the most are the ones that you don't see. And there's going to be a lot of punches that McGregor's not going to see. So he's going to just download that code, and he's going to calculate it, and once he calculates his code, like I said, he's going to go back into his corner. He's going to be very conscious, and he's going to have a serious reality check when he realizes that he's in there with a completely different animal at this point. He's going to look at his boxing as very sloppy. He's going to come back in. He's going to use every little trick he has in that little bag that he has that he learned, and he's going to have to keep going back to that. He can't throw a kick. He can't throw a punch. He can't take him down. He's got to stay and fight. So when he runs out of that bag of tricks, there's nothing else he has to do. He's going to have to deal with the arsenal of knowledge and tricks that Mayweather has in his bag. And that's when it's going to get ugly. That's when it's going to get ugly. As far as the betting end of it, I want you guys to look at it this way. A lot of people, obviously the line is moving. It started at minus 2,700 on some sites. It's now down to minus 400 on some sites. A lot of that is public money. The real heavy sharp money is going on Mayweather. The public money, the people from Ireland, that whole Celtic spirit thing, which is, fantastic to believe and have a hope and a prayer. That's where all the money on their side's coming in. But if you really want to bet this fight, look at the inside line on this, and look at his only shot to win, because I think we both agree that the only way McGregor's going to win this fight is by knockout. He cannot outbox Floyd. If you think he can outbox Floyd, you're not only a dreamer, but you're in a coma. So he's not going to outbox him, but what he's going to do is going to try to knock him out, and that's his only shot in hell to win this fight. And if you look at those lines, because people are just betting the fight. These general bettors are just betting $100 here. They're betting the fight. They're betting on the long shot. They're betting on, Irish pride and stuff like that. But if you look at the ratio, they're all in the plus 1,000s. It's all, but round 1 through 3, I think it was like plus 1,700. Like, that tells a lot more of the story. Forget about the public money that's coming in. Don't look at that line and say, man, somebody knows something. Nobody knows nothing. That's a guy who has media behind him and who has a fan base behind him that believes, because he has the ability to make you believe. And that's fantastic, and that's why he's a unicorn for the UFC. But don't look at that. So if you're looking at the best bet to take on this fight, in my eyes, if you have a lot of wood to throw down and you want to take those 4-to-1 odds, that is a lock bet. Love it. But if you don't have that chalk and you don't want to throw that wood down because it's 4-to-1, you got to lay 400 to win 100, whatever, and you want to take something a little more feasible, you can go in on not taking a fighter. And if you're a McGregor fan and you don't want to bet Mayweather, take the fight inside the distance. That fight's not going to the distance, so take that fight inside the distance. Another bet that I love is I love Mayweather. A lot of sites have it at inside 9.5. I think at like minus 160 or something. Love it. My prediction of the fight is I don't think it's not so much what McGregor does, it's what Mayweather doesn't do. And what I mean by that is McGregor cannot dictate anything in this fight. So if you guys think he's going to dictate any part of this fight, you're mistaken. Anywhere this fight goes, it's because Floyd is taking it there. If Floyd is backed up against the rope, it's because Floyd is baiting him there. If Floyd is looking like he's taking punishment or he's not throwing back, it's because Floyd is trapping him. Anywhere this fight goes, it's because Mayweather is taking it there, not because McGregor is taking it there. So it really all depends on where Mayweather wants to go, when he wants to finish, and how he wants to fight. I don't know if I truly believe that he's going to take the fight to him right from the gun. I think that'd be foolish. I think he should have that 1 or 2 rounds to kind of just sit back, let him get overzealous, let him frustrate him, let him realize that you're not in there with Jose Aldo or Eddie Alvarez or any of these guys. Like these MMA announcers are saying, well, he knocked out Jose Aldo and Eddie Alvarez. Like, okay, he's not Floyd Mayweather. So I think he's going to get knocked out. I think Conor's going to get knocked out. I don't think he's going to go out by a 10 count. I don't think it's, I think he's got too much pride for that. I know Owen Roddy and his corner has too much pride. They're not going to throw in a towel. I think the referee's going to stop the fight is the way I think it's going to go. I think it's going to be a referee stoppage, TKO. It's just going to be too much for him. He's going to get tired. He's going to get frustrated. He's going to start throwing these looping punches, and Mayweather is just going to just send things from crazy angles and just completely pick him apart. It could actually be almost like when he fought Arturo Gatti, and I was at that fight. When you had that belief that Arturo was going to bring the fight to him and he was going to bring a war to him, and he just could not do nothing with him. The greatest speech about Mayweather, the greatest statement about Mayweather that any boxer's ever said to him about him after a fight was Canelo Alvarez. When he fought him, they asked him, how was it to be in there? He lost every round, and he just said, there is no answer for Floyd Mayweather. And that is the most deep, honest statement from anyone. There is no answer for him. The only answer that the only possible inside 0.5% or 1% chance that Conor has to win this fight is if Mayweather gets old right before our eyes, which has happened. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Terry Norris. We've seen it happen with Roy Jones. We've seen it happen with Pacquiao. We've seen it happen with a lot of fighters. They get old before our eyes, but all these guys took punishment. Mayweather has never taken punishment. He's never taken punishment. So that I don't think is going to happen. And if he breaks his hand. And that's another thing I don't think is going to happen. So those two avenues are really the only avenues I see him winning. And when you guys are talking about a lucky punch, everyone's like, well, he could sneak a punch in there. You know, he caught Malignaggi with that punch. And, you know, we got to really look at that now. That's something serious. That's nothing serious. That's nothing serious. Because the fact of the matter is there's no such thing as a lucky punch at that level. At that elite level, there's no such thing as a lucky punch. Okay, so you're either trapping somebody, baiting somebody, setting somebody up, and you're landing a punch. So I'll come on here, if he lands that punch, and he lands a couple punches, he knocks Mayweather out, I will come on here and I will eat crow, and I will not say he caught him with a lucky punch, or this, not, even if it looks like he got old in the ring. I may say, wow, you know, that's it, man, he aged or whatever, but I will not make excuses, because that's how confident I am that Mayweather is going to starch him in this fight, okay? So all the hand things, all that bullshit's got to go out the window, in my eyes. And outside of that, man, you know, enjoy the fight. You just got to have fun with it, and you got to, you know, if you're rooting for McGregor, fantastic, bro. Root for McGregor. I get it. You know, if there's, you know, he's got the nation behind him. He represents a brand that you guys may love and you may hate boxing. So have fun with it, man. That's what it's about. Like, for years, how many people have been saying, you know, who has the better stand-up, boxers or MMA guys? Well, you're going to find out. You're going to find out on Saturday night how much of a science boxing is. You're going to find out how much of a science it actually is. And you cannot compare the greatest stand-up fighter in MMA to a legit elite level boxer. When it comes to stand-up, you can't. If this was in the cage, I'd have the same exact argument. I said, you guys, I'd say to the boxing community, you guys are lunatics if you guys think that this guy is going to last more than a minute with McGregor. McGregor's going to take him down, and McGregor's going to completely starch him. But it's not in that arena, guys. It's boxing. And, you know, it's been boxing much longer than it's been MMA. And in a stand-up war and stand-up battle, when there's so many intricate details, you know, that need to be understood and known, and just the way they throw their punches and the combinations that the way they tie them together and the reads and stuff like that, it's a completely different animal. You only have one option. You gotta stand and you gotta fight. We've seen McGregor, you know, when everything goes his way, he's amazing. When everything goes his way, we've seen shit go his way, not go his way only 2 times. One time he won, and another time he lost against Nate Diaz. Shit goes wrong Mayweather's way, you know, quite a few times, and he just comes back and starches people. You know, Mosley had him rocked. Zab Judah had him rocked. All these people, Maidana, had him in trouble, and he just comes out on top. You know, so all I'm telling you guys is, after 49 fights, some of the best guys in the world, some of these guys are Hall of Fame fighters, boxers. In 49 fights, nobody's been able to solve this guy's riddle. Not one guy has been able to solve this guy's riddle. And you're going to tell me that a guy who's never fought boxing a day in his life, he has never, his striking coach is Owen Roddy. All the respect to Owen Roddy, but he's not a boxer. He's not a boxer. So that's his striking coach. So you're telling me that Owen Roddy is going to find these little nooks and crannies and these little nuances to outsmart the Mayweather family and outsmart that brand? It's just not going to happen. You know, and then you guys are looking at all these videos and these 20-second clips and these pictures of him throwing like that all-you-can uppercut to a guy from Tekken, and there's no sweat coming off him, which I think was staged. Another picture recently posted of John Kavanaugh hitting the canvas. Like, I love John Kavanaugh, nothing but respect for him, but that's not a big deal to show me a picture of you knocking down John Kavanaugh. Like, what is that? You know? So, like, what are you showing us? You're not showing us anything. I got proof that I can break down Mayweather stuff because I got hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of film. But how can you sit here and make these you know, analytical breakdowns when you have no idea what he's even going to look like? You don't even know if he's going to come out like this, like he's going to throw a crane kick. You know nothing. So all I'm telling you guys is enjoy the fight. Don't buy into all this bullshit, you know, with that they're trying to sell you. You got to remember, it's a business at the end of the day, and they need to sell tickets, and that's what you have to do. You can't have everybody coming out and saying to you, listen, there's no fucking way in hell he's going to win this fight. It's impossible. It's just humanly impossible. They're not going to say that. Why? Because you're not going to sell fucking tickets. They need these guys like the Brendan Schaubs who are hired by Showtime to bring a little bit of backlash into the boxing world and say, oh, you know, he could do it. Brendan Schaub does not believe what he's saying. These analysts that are lobbying for jobs and this and that, they don't believe what they're saying. And if they do believe what they're saying, then they really just don't know boxing. Then they should just stick to MMA, and they really shouldn't. They shouldn't call themselves a combat sports analyst. They should just be an MMA analyst. Because if they really believe that all the shit that they're spewing to you guys, then that's up to you if you want to listen to them just for entertainment, or heed their advice just for entertainment, or if you just want to really believe. You know, but outside of that, guys, enjoy the fight. I don't want to make this too long. I'm 20 minutes in already. I will not entertain a McGregor bet. The only bet I would take with McGregor would probably be weeks ago, when the odds of him winning a round, I heard, was 26-1. That's what I heard, which would have been a great bet, because it's a possibility that he steals round 1 just from Mayweather being back on his heels. If this does not go to a TKO or a knockout, and it does go to the cards, I will say it will be 11-1 Mayweather, possibly 12-0, and at the very, very best for McGregor, it would be 10-2. That would be the first 2 rounds. That's it. But as far as the couple bets that I really do like, I'll repeat them again. I like inside the distance. If you don't want to put, like I said, if you want action on the fight, but you don't want to bet Mayweather, and you want to take inside the distance, it's a great bet. If you want to take Mayweather under 9.5 rounds, which a lot of the sites are showing, it's a great bet. Mayweather by TKO, inside of, my prediction is between 7 and 9. It's going to be stopped. So if they have the quarter, round bets, quarter fight bets, and you want to grab that, that's good. It might even end before, but like I said, you don't know the way Mayweather's going to come out. You don't know if he's going to want to entertain the fans, if he's going to pull him through the fight a little bit. So I'm not going to just knock you out, but he's getting knocked out. I personally believe Conor McGregor's not going to the distance. And if I'm wrong, and he wins this fight, or he throws a war, and I mean it's a split decision, and Mayweather still wins, I'm going to come on here and I'll still eat crow, and I'll say, man, I underestimated this guy, but I just can't justify, sitting here and bullshitting you guys and making all these mathematical equations and breakdowns and analytical fucking, peeling layers back and doing this and lying to you guys and telling you, oh, listen, he's going to do this and he could do this and a disruption here and a disturbance there, and I ain't going to bullshit you guys. I can't, because I have nothing to shoot from. I'm breaking down what I know of Mayweather, and I know the history of Mayweather and the people he's fought, and how almost merely impossible this is going to be for McGregor. So 1% chance for McGregor, just because it is a fight. Outside of that, this is going to be a complete assault in the ring, and that's my opinion. Enjoy the fight. I will make a post-fight interview, win or lose. If you got any questions, hit me up on Twitter, fantasyguruelite.com. Best in the business we are. We got everything. We got some great football stuff coming out right now. Man's in the crew, Kevin Adams. Endless hours they're putting in, making sure you guys are all tight for football. We got every sport, PGA, we got Trevor with NASCAR, obviously me with MMA. Just a great, we just took on Draft Cheat. Great group of guys, man. Just a great, we got Rob doing, MLB Model doing, all our algos and stuff like that. It's just a fantastic site. We're like a family. It's not a company. Pop on in, give us a look. Have a great time, guys.